Wondering just what it was that a private investigator named Steve Fisher found inside David's home when he was given access last October. The PI reported seeing, quote, items you would expect to find on a farm rather than in a home in the Hollywood Hills. And today, we are learning about one of those items.
The entire internet froze the moment the new Celeste video dropped. Not because of the visuals, not because of the storyline, but because of the insanity that happened right after. Within minutes of the clip going viral, sirens were approaching a downtown studio. Officers were surrounding the entrance, and fans watched in real time as D4VD was suddenly taken into custody. No warning, no explanation, no statement, just chaos, confusion, and 1,000 unanswered questions exploding across every timeline like wildfire. People thought it was part of a promo. People thought it was a stunt. People thought it was a setup for a music video storyline. But then they saw the real footage, the unedited clip captured by someone hiding behind a parked car. You can hear officers shouting. You can hear D4VD insisting something wasn't what it looked like. And you can hear bystanders whispering the same terrified question over and over. Did this happen because of the Celeste video? Because here's the insane part. Sources say D4VD didn't just film a risky concept. He filmed something that someone extremely powerful wanted buried. Something Celeste allegedly warned him not to release. Something insiders claim had already caused tension for weeks behind the scenes. But D4VD ignored the warning. He posted it anyway. And the moment it went viral, everything snapped. People close to the situation say a fight broke out seconds before the arrest. Others claim someone made a phone call that triggered the entire response. And one insider swears the video contained a detail that should have never made it to the public. But the truth, the real truth, is even darker. Because the arrest wasn't random, it wasn't accidental, and it wasn't because of what fans think they saw. This was personal, this was planned. And what D4VD and Celeste were hiding is about to explode long before flashing lights surrounded that studio. Long before D4VD was handcuffed on a sidewalk, while half the internet watched in shock, long before the Celeste video detonated across every platform. There were already signs that something sinister was brewing behind the scenes. You could feel it in the tension during backstage interviews, in the sudden cancellations, in the weird energy between D4VD and Celeste during recent appearances. Something was off, and fans sensed it weeks before the world finally saw what was really happening. It started slowly, almost quietly, with small moments that seemed harmless at the time. Moments like Celeste being unusually cold during rehearsals. Moments where D4VD looked over his shoulder mid-performance like he felt someone watching him. Moments where fans noticed that the duo, once inseparable online, had stopped posting together completely. No collabs, no behind-the-scenes clips, no pictures, and definitely no smiles. People tried to brush it off as artistic tension, creative differences, normal artist stress, the usual excuses. But insiders now say those small moments were warnings. Signs of a bigger storm silently forming around them. Signs that both artists were hiding something, something they thought they could control, something they believed would never reach the public. The first major crack came during a private studio session 2 months ago. It was supposed to be a closed meeting, just D4VD, Celeste, their engineer, and a few trusted staff members. But multiple sources say the session turned explosive. Voices were raised, things were slammed, someone walked out in tears, and someone else allegedly shouted, "You're going to regret this when it gets out." Nobody outside that room knew what caused the tension. But whatever happened that night changed everything. After that, D4VD went silent for days. Celeste disappeared from social media. Their teams tightened access. And everyone who worked around them felt the shift. A sudden, suffocating pressure that made people whisper instead of speak, question instead of assume. The second warning sign came when a journalist asked Celeste about upcoming collaborations during an interview. Her smile froze, her eyes flickered. She paused for nearly 5 seconds, an eternity on camera, before giving a vague, cold reply. "Some projects never make it out." Fans immediately clipped the moment, resharing it with captions like, "What does she mean by this?" and "Something is wrong." But the darkest shift came from D4VD himself. He began avoiding public spaces, refused certain interviews, stopped attending events he was scheduled for, and whenever someone tried to ask him about Celeste, he either changed the subject or ended the conversation completely. This wasn't normal celebrity privacy. This was someone trying to outrun a situation spiraling out of control. Then came the leak, the one only a few hardcore fans noticed at the time. A small snippet of raw, unedited footage from an abandoned project. It showed D4VD and Celeste in a dimly lit room. Their expressions were tense, serious, nothing like the creative partnership their followers thought they had. And in the background, for just a split second, you can see a third person, someone whose face is partially blurred. Someone standing too close. Someone watching the two artists with eyes that felt almost hostile. The snippet disappeared within minutes. Taken down, copyright requested. Channels wiped, accounts suspended. Too fast. The takedown was too fast. That's when the real fans started panicking. Because only content tied to something truly dangerous gets erased that aggressively. Weeks later, insiders began whispering about legal threats, contracts being rewritten, meetings happening late at night behind locked doors. D4VD was reportedly advised to lay low, while Celeste was told to follow instructions carefully. Their teams weren't protecting them. They were controlling them. Something was being buried and buried fast. Then, 2 weeks before the viral arrest, D4VD made a decision that insiders now say triggered everything. He secretly met with someone outside the industry, someone who had information, someone who warned him that the thing he and Celeste had been hiding, the thing they tried to erase, was about to be exposed by someone else. And according to sources, D4VD left that meeting pale, shaking, unable to speak for several minutes. This was when he started working on the Celeste video in secret. He didn't tell his management, he didn't tell his label, he didn't tell Celeste. It was his message, his warning, his attempt at revealing the truth before someone weaponized it against him. But here's where the story goes from strange to terrifying. Celeste found out, not because D4VD told her, not because the clip leaked, but because someone who has been watching them both from the shadows sent her a private message with a screenshot of D4VD editing the video. She confronted him, not calmly, not gently, but in a way that insiders described as panicked, angry, and scared. And she told him something that reportedly left him speechless. "We were supposed to destroy everything connected to that night. If you put this out, they will come after both of us. Not the fans, not the industry, not the media. But D4VD didn't listen. He posted the video anyway. And within minutes, the same unknown force that had been watching them for months made their first public move. The studio call, the officers, the sudden arrest. Every major fan account noticed the timing instantly. The second the video hit 1 million views, the sirens started. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't bad luck. This was retaliation, planned, targeted, executed flawlessly. But the real question, the one the entire industry is whispering about right now, isn't why was D4VD arrested? It's, what did he expose in that Celeste video, and who was he really up against? The explosion didn't happen in the studio. It didn't happen when fans first saw the flashing lights or when officers surrounded the building. The real eruption, the moment everything broke open, happened inside the video itself. A tiny detail, a 2-second frame most viewers missed on first watch, but the people who caught it, they knew instantly that this wasn't just a music video, it was a confession, a warning, a message disguised as art, and a direct shot at someone who thought the truth had been permanently buried. The video opens innocently, D4VD walking alone through an empty hallway, dim lights flickering, the kind of aesthetic fans assumed was symbolic. But at 0:37, the frame glitches. Not a normal glitch, not an edit. A real digital distortion, the kind that happens when something is being concealed. And for just a split second, behind D4VD's shoulder, you see a shape. A figure, a silhouette, a person who should not have been there. Someone who matches the blurred figure seen in that leaked behind-the-scenes snippet from months ago. This is what triggered the meltdown. And this is where the story fractures into something much darker than anyone expected. Because when Celeste saw that frame, when she realized D4VD had included it, she allegedly lost control. Multiple insiders say she called him 6 times in a row within the first 3 minutes the video was posted. When he didn't answer, she sent him a message so long, so unhinged, so panicked that the team had to screenshot it before she deleted it. People who claim to have seen it say it wasn't anger, it was terror. She begged him to take the video down. She threatened him. She warned him. She told him he didn't understand what he had just done. But the most chilling line she sent him was, "They told us to erase everything. Why did you put him in the video?" Him. That single word is what started the internet firestorm, because whoever him is, he isn't a manager. He isn't a friend, he isn't a producer, he isn't a fan. He is someone D4VD and Celeste swore they would never speak of again. And somehow D4VD put him on camera. Fans didn't know the context yet. They didn't know the story behind the silhouette. They didn't know why Celeste was spiraling. But when the arrest happened minutes later, timelines exploded with theories. It's connected. This video wasn't safe. Someone didn't want that frame to get out. But the truth, based on multiple insiders, is even more disturbing. Because the chaos didn't start on the sidewalk. It started in the studio. Inside that building, before the police even arrived, multiple witnesses claim they saw D4VD arguing with an unknown man wearing a dark jacket and a baseball cap low over his face. The man wasn't a cop, wasn't security, wasn't crew, but he walked straight through the studio like he had authority, and he confronted D4VD directly. People nearby said the man grabbed D4VD's arm and hissed something that made him jerk back like he'd been shocked. Then, according to one witness, the man said, "You weren't supposed to release that. You know what happens next." Right after that, the man disappeared down a hallway, and within 60 seconds, officers were at the door, meaning someone didn't call the police. Someone was already waiting, already prepared, already in the building. This wasn't a reaction. This was a scheduled takedown. But the real twist, the one nobody saw coming, involved Celeste. Because while D4VD was being detained outside, looking confused, betrayed, and furious, Celeste wasn't sobbing in the corner like some fans imagined. She was standing across the street, hands shaking, eyes wide, watching everything, and she wasn't alone. Someone stood right next to her, a tall figure wearing a black hood, their face hidden. At one point, Celeste grabbed their arm, visibly panicked, as if pleading for something, and the figure didn't comfort her. They leaned in and whispered something that made her freeze. Then they walked away. Celeste didn't follow, she didn't call out. She didn't move. She just stood there staring at D4VD being taken into custody with a look that wasn't guilt, and wasn't shock, but something else, resignation. Like she knew this was always going to happen. Like she'd been warned this moment would come. Like this was the price for something she thought they had buried forever. This is where everything changes, because insiders now claim Celeste wasn't terrified of the video. She was terrified of what the video proved. Because according to multiple people who have worked with both artists, D4VD and Celeste were involved in something months ago. Something that went down during that infamous private session. Something that involved the man in the blurred snippet. Something that had nothing to do with music. And whatever happened that night, it was recorded, illegally, secretly, by someone who has been holding that footage over their heads ever since. The silhouette in D4VD's new video wasn't an accident. It wasn't a creative choice. It wasn't symbolic. It was a message to the person who filmed them, a message saying, "I know you're watching. I'm not scared anymore." But D4VD misunderstood the danger. Because by putting that figure in the video, he didn't scare the blackmailer, he provoked him. And the first immediate response was the arrest. But insiders say the second response is what should truly terrify fans, because shortly after the arrest, Celeste got a message on her phone from an unknown number. It said, "If he exposes me, you're next." She turned pale. She dropped the phone, she whispered, "It wasn't supposed to go this far," but the person who sent the message didn't stop there. They sent a second text. A still frame from the original footage, not the snippet, not the blurred version. The real video, unedited. And in that still frame, you can clearly see D4VD, Celeste, and the third man, the same man from the hallway, the man in the video, the man who triggered the arrest, standing behind them with his arms crossed, watching them like a guard. This is the twist that breaks everything open. D4VD wasn't arrested for what he did. He was arrested to stop what he was about to reveal. Because that silhouette isn't a stranger, isn't a random person, isn't a rumor, it's someone powerful, someone connected. Someone who can make a single phone call and destroy careers. Someone who thought the footage was deleted forever. And D4VD just exposed him, without speaking a single word. The internet thought the arrest was the climax, the peak of the madness. But the truth is, the arrest was only the beginning of the chaos. Because the moment D4VD was taken into custody, the power struggle happening behind the scenes erupted into a full-scale war. And it didn't stay in the shadows. It spilled onto every timeline, every comment section, every group chat, every music forum. People weren't just confused anymore. They were terrified. Because something in the Celeste video, something small, something subtle, something most viewers overlooked, wasn't just a clue. It was a threat. A direct shot at the man in the shadows. A message meant for an audience of one. And that audience responded instantly. Hours after the arrest, 3 major fan accounts posted the same thing. Someone has been deleting comments mentioning the shadow figure. Within minutes, posts speculating about the silhouette started disappearing. Videos breaking down the figure's presence were removed. People who slowed down the frame and tried to analyze the silhouette claimed their content was flagged almost instantly. This wasn't normal moderation. This was targeted erasure. Someone was cleaning the digital trail, someone with real power, someone who didn't care how obvious they looked. But the cover-up only made people dig harder. Influencers began freeze-framing the silhouette at 0:37, comparing it to previous leaked images. Some noticed he appeared not once, but 3 times in the video, each time hidden in distorted frames or behind lighting effects. A creator posted a breakdown that went viral before it was mysteriously taken down. This wasn't a glitch. These were signals. D4VD was sending someone a warning. And that's when a new anonymous account appeared, not the same insider who leaked the first footage, not the one who posted the still frame to Celeste later. This was someone new. Their account was empty, no followers, no posts, no profile picture. Until suddenly, with no warning, they posted a single sentence. "You're all looking at the wrong moment. Go to 124. The internet lost its mind. Everyone rushed back to the video, scrubbing to 124. And that's when viewers noticed it. A faint reflection in the glass behind D4VD, distorted but barely visible. A hand, a wrist, a ring. The same ring worn by the man who confronted D4VD in the studio. The same ring seen in the old leaked footage. The same ring that showed up in the private still-frame message sent to Celeste. People began posting side-by-side comparisons. This is the same guy. We've been watching him without realizing. He's been around for MO and THS. And then a long-standing rumor resurfaced, a rumor fans had brushed aside as conspiracy. Months ago, someone claimed Celeste had been spotted speaking to a mysterious man at a late-night industry event. At the time, people assumed it was a producer or a manager. But when the comparison photos resurfaced, everything matched. The height, the ring, the posture, even the way he stood with his hands clasped behind his back. This man wasn't a stranger, he lived in their orbit. He watched them, he followed them, he controlled them. And insiders say this man isn't just connected. He has direct influence over contracts, distribution deals, security access, and even artist movements. Which means the still frame, the snippet, the silhouette, the hallway confrontation, the arrest. None of it was random. He was cleaning up a mess that D4VD accidentally exposed. But things escalated even further when Celeste broke her silence. Except she didn't post a statement. She didn't go live. She didn't address the rumors directly. Instead, she posted a single black screen on her Instagram story with the words, "This wasn't supposed to happen again." Again? That word lit the internet on fire. Again meant this wasn't the first time. Again meant the silhouette man had done something before. Again meant D4VD wasn't the only one targeted. And that's when the anonymous account returned with a second post. Check the bridge footage from last year, they were both there. People scrambled. Fans dug up old videos, journalists searched archives. Sleuths looked through every pap shot and every grainy clip. And then someone found it, a blurry, shaky video taken by a fan near a bridge months ago. In the clip, D4VD and Celeste are seen arguing. Celeste looks distraught, wiping her eyes. D4VD looks panicked. Then out of nowhere, a tall man steps between them and the camera cuts off. There is no clear shot of his face, but the ring is there, the same ring. The moment that resurfaced, timelines erupted. The man has been involved for a year. This is why they were silent. Celeste's reaction makes sense now. This is not a music industry issue, this is blackmail. But the real escalation came next. Because the anonymous account posted a third message. The man you're looking for made them sign something that night, something illegal. This sparked immediate chaos. Was it a contract, a confession, a non-disclosure agreement, a waiver? Something more sinister, people who claimed to have insider knowledge started making chilling statements. There's a reason D4VD and Celeste couldn't talk about what happened. They were bound to silence by force. Someone made sure the truth never reached the public. And then another twist hit. Someone who used to work with Celeste anonymously messaged a creator and said, "She's terrified of him, she always has been." Not nervous, not uncomfortable, terrified. But the biggest escalation came from law enforcement. Reporters tried to obtain public arrest details for D4VD, but the records were temporarily sealed. No explanation. No timeline, no public charge list. This never happens with normal celebrity arrests. Something or someone ordered it. And here's where the truth starts to take shape. The man in the shadows didn't want D4VD jailed. He wanted him silenced, contained, removed long enough to erase the digital trail. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. While the police had D4VD in holding, someone with inside access tried to erase the original video from his account. They almost succeeded, but fans noticed the attempt instantly and backed up the file across hundreds of downloads. By the time the takedown request was finalized, it was too late. The video was everywhere. And somewhere in that video, in those distorted frames, hidden reflections, and barely visible silhouettes, lies the truth that D4VD was trying to expose. The man in the shadows is not just a threat. He is the reason D4VD and Celeste disappeared months ago. He is the reason their partnership fell apart. He is the reason they were both being monitored. He is the reason D4VD was arrested. And he is the reason the industry is suddenly, quietly panicking. But the worst part? Nobody knows his name. Not yet. The internet didn't just react to the escalating chaos. It exploded like a pressure cooker that had been waiting months for someone to lift the lid. What happened after the Silhouette Man's pattern was exposed wasn't normal fan chatter. It was a full-blown cultural riot, a digital earthquake shaking every corner of social media. Because everyone realized the same horrifying truth at the same time. D4VD didn't get arrested for a crime. He got arrested for a secret. And secrets this big don't stay buried. Within minutes, every major platform lit up. Hashtags multiplied like wildfire. Number free D4VD, number Celeste, new number Shadowman, number seal the footage, number what happened last year. Millions of people were resharing screenshots, theories, slowed down clips, pixelated zoom-ins, and freeze frames of the silhouette. Every angle became a clue. Every glitch became a breadcrumb. Every public appearance from the past year became suspicious. Influencers who normally joked about celebrity drama suddenly became investigators. Look at his posture, look at his stance. This is someone familiar. Why did this figure appear 3 times? That's not an accident. You can literally see someone forcing D4VD to stop at 0:37. Look at his eyes. TikTok detectives went feral. One creator posted a 12-part series titled, "The Man Who Ruined Everything, a Timeline." Each part went viral. Tens of millions of views, comments in the hundreds of thousands. People dropping their own theories like seasoned analysts. He's not a manager, he's higher. He's definitely connected to security. Look at how he moves. I think he works for someone powerful in the industry. What if he's the one who recorded the original footage? Reddit threads turned into crime scene boards. Users pulled up old interviews from both artists and highlighted moments that suddenly made terrifying sense. One clip resurfaced of Celeste on a live stream months ago. Someone asked her about past conflicts, and she instantly froze before saying, "Some things aren't safe to talk about." That line, forgotten back then, now resurfaced and went viral. People captioned it. She wasn't being dramatic. She was being controlled. Meanwhile, D4VD fans organized themselves faster than the industry could respond. They started archiving every piece of footage, screenshots, comments, audio leaks, interviews, and Instagram lives from both artists. It became a digital vault, a collection so massive that even if the Shadow Man tried deleting everything, the internet had already backed it up. And then the industry itself reacted. Badly. 3 major producers unfollowed Celeste within the same hour. A well-known director deleted an old post praising both artists. A music executive tweeted something cryptic. "This is bigger than the fans know. Pray for them." That tweet alone set off a separate wave of hysteria. People began flooding the executive with replies. "What do you know? Who is in danger? Is D4VD safe? What do you mean pray?" He didn't respond. And the silence was worse than anything he could have said. Meanwhile, Celeste's fanbase split into factions, a civil war erupting in real time. Some defended her. She's scared too. She tried to warn him. She didn't call the cops. She's victim too. Others turned on her. She sold him out. She knew what the man was capable of. She should have protected him. She let him get arrested. But the darkest reactions came from the background of the industry, anonymous insiders messaging creators privately, leaking tiny but horrifying bits of information. The man in the video isn't new. He's been around since their early sessions. He's not working alone. He's connected to someone who controls money. D4VD wasn't the first artist he threatened. And that last one fueled the most terrifying rumor yet. This wasn't just about the video. It wasn't about D4VD. It wasn't about Celeste. It was about a pattern, one that involved other artists who mysteriously disappeared, backed out of deals, or went silent for months. A famous commentator posted, We always thought they left because of creative burnout. What if they were being silenced? That comment alone hit 10 million views in 3 hours. Fans began pulling up old cases of artists going on hiatus for personal reasons. They dug through old scandals, cryptic posts, sudden disappearances, and legal sealed documents. The parallels were disturbing. And then, as if the universe wanted to prove the fans right, another giant clue dropped. A producer who once worked with D4VD posted an Instagram story that said, "He warned me about a man watching him." The story vanished in under 60 seconds, but the internet saved it before it disappeared. Chaos erupted, because now the public wasn't just theorizing, they were connecting dots. And every dot pointed to the same horrifying conclusion. This shadow man wasn't just lurking in D4VD's career. He wasn't targeting Celeste randomly. He wasn't a one-time threat. He was a recurring figure, someone who appeared whenever artists got too close to exposing something. Meanwhile, the police remained suspiciously silent. No official charges, no statements, no updates. Even news channels tried requesting more information, but they kept getting the same answer. Records sealed, cannot release. Nobody gets their records sealed that fast, not unless someone high up orders it. And that sent the entertainment industry spiraling. Because now producers, managers, and labels were whispering in private calls, terrified that the story would expose someone powerful enough to pull police, media, and artists like marionettes. Then Celeste did something nobody expected. She deleted every photo from her Instagram, every highlight, every post. Gone, her entire profile reduced to a black icon and a bio with a single sentence. "You don't understand what's coming," people screamed. Comments poured in, "What's coming? Who threatened you? Is D4VD safe? Is this man watching you right now?" But Celeste didn't respond. And that silence told the internet everything. She wasn't teasing. She wasn't being dramatic. She was warning them. Because while fans were panicking, influencers were speculating, and the industry was hiding, someone else, someone even closer to the truth, broke their silence. An anonymous former security contractor dropped a message into a Discord server. "The man you're all talking about isn't just connected, he's protected." And then, before anyone could ask follow-up questions, the account vanished. Everything that happened, the silhouette, the arrest, the blackouts, the warnings, the sealed records, was leading to one terrifying moment. A moment even D4VD didn't see coming. A moment Celeste had been terrified of for months. A moment the Shadow Man had been preparing since the night everything originally went wrong. And that moment arrived at exactly 3:08 a.m., long after the fans stopped refreshing timelines and the news cycle quieted. While the world was asleep, D4VD sat in a freezing interrogation room alone. No lawyer, no manager, no label representative, just silence, thick, suffocating, unsettling. Then the door opened. Not for the officer, not for a detective, not for anyone official. A man stepped in, tall, calm, hands clasped behind his back, that same ring glinting under the fluorescent lights. The Shadow Man, D4VD's breath caught, his entire body stiffened. This was the face behind the silhouette, the figure in the video, the man who made the call, the one who followed him and Celeste from studio to studio, the one who recorded the original footage, the one who had been controlling their lives from the background. And he didn't sit. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't threaten. He simply placed a single envelope on the metal table and said, "Delete your video and this ends tonight." D4VD didn't touch it, didn't look at it, didn't blink. The man continued, "You weren't supposed to bring him back." Him, the same word Celeste used, the same person from that night, the same person in the footage, the same presence they swore they would never mention again. This wasn't about the silhouette man hiding his own identity. It was about what or who the silhouette man was protecting. That envelope contained evidence, not against D4VD, not against Celeste, against someone far more dangerous, someone whose existence the music industry has been pretending doesn't exist, someone who was in the original footage, someone who should never have been in the room with them, someone whose identity would blow open scandals beyond music, political, financial, legal. A name so nuclear that revealing it would ignite lawsuits, investigations, and total reputational collapse. D4VD quietly pushed the envelope back, and the silhouette man froze. Then he leaned in and whispered the same chilling line Celeste received earlier. "If you expose him, she goes down with you." This wasn't about D4VD anymore. This was about Celeste. She wasn't just scared of the silhouette man. She was scared of the person behind him. Which means the real mastermind isn't the figure in the video. He's just an enforcer, a guard, a fixer. a pawn to protect someone bigger, someone who has been controlling both artists since the night it happened, someone who was there in the footage behind them, someone who was blurred out. Meanwhile, on the outside, Celeste received another message, this time a video file. The real video, raw, unedited. The one they had been hiding all year, and when she played it, you can see everything, the room, the argument, D4VD pushing away from the table, Celeste crying, the silhouette man watching from the corner. But then the camera tilts. For 3 seconds, you see the real third man step into frame. Not blurred, not cropped, not obscured. A face recognizable to anyone who has followed the industry long enough. Someone influential. Someone untouchable. Someone who was never supposed to be connected to these two artists. Celeste dropped her phone. She covered her mouth. She whispered, "They're going to release it." And that's when she noticed something horrifying. The message didn't say, "Watch this." It said, "This drops tomorrow." Meaning, the shadow man lost control, someone else has the footage, someone else is now pulling the strings. Someone else wants the truth out, no matter who burns in the process. Meanwhile, back in the interrogation room, D4VD stared down the silhouette man with a look of absolute defiance. The man sighed. "You made your choice." He stood up, walked to the door, opened it halfway. Then turned back with one final message. "When the world sees the other man's face, there's no going back." He left. D4VD sat alone, shaking, furious, unbroken. Outside, the internet slept peacefully, unaware that the most explosive leak in music history was hours away. A leak that would expose the man behind everything. A leak that would drag Celeste into a nightmare she spent a year trying to escape. A leak that would finally reveal what really happened that night on the bridge. And as the clock ticked towards sunrise, the storm kept building, waiting to hit, waiting to destroy, waiting to expose the truth the shadow man could no longer control. If you're still watching after everything that just unfolded, then you already understand how massive this is. The shadow man isn't the mastermind. The arrest wasn't the end. The footage isn't just dangerous, it's history in the making. And now we know the most explosive part hasn't even dropped yet. There is a third man in that video, someone powerful, someone protected, someone who has been hiding behind blurred frames and sealed documents. And by tomorrow, the entire world might see his face. But now I want to hear from you. Right now, jump into the comments and tell me what you think is about to happen next. Do you believe the full video will leak at sunrise? Do you think Celeste is in danger? Do you think the shadow man is acting alone? Or is he following orders from someone even more dangerous? And most importantly, who do you think is the third man in the footage? Drop every theory, every suspicion, every wild guess. The best ones always rise to the top. If you want the next chapter the second, this story evolves, smash that like button. It pushes this video higher so the truth spreads faster than the people trying to bury it. And if you're new here, hit subscribe right now. Turn on all notifications so you're the first to know when the next update drops, because trust me, the minute that footage leaks, the fallout is going to be nuclear. This is not the end. The real expose hasn't even begun. The third man is still hidden. The footage is still out there. And the next reveal is the one that will blow this entire story wide open. Stay ready, stay locked in. And whatever you do, don't look away now. The truth is coming.